By Genesis 13, God was already making good on his promise from Genesis 12 to bless Abraham. He had made both Abraham and by association his nephew Lot so prosperous that the land they were living on couldn't support both of their flocks and herds of animals. So, to keep the peace between the two, they decided that they would separate ways. And so, Abraham graciously let his nephew choose which piece of land he wanted first. And Lot looked out over the land and saw the well watered, flat, green, lush plains of Jericho and said, I'll take that one. Abraham settled for the remnant. And it didn't really matter because God had already promised to bless Abraham no matter where he went. Genesis 13:12 reads, Abram lived in the land of Canaan, but Lot lived in the cities on the plain and set up his tent near Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were evil, sinning immensely against the Lord. Do you hear what just happened? Lot literally set up his own demise. He positioned himself near Sodom. He set up his tent near Sin City. He had spent all the years of his life under the mentorship of Abraham, the father of our Christian faith, and everything that he had touched or had been blessed. And in the matter of a couple of chapters, it was all lost, devastated. What we see after he set up his tent near Sodom was that he was captured by invading armies and taken as a prisoner of war, Genesis 14. Then he was attacked by a homosexual mob who wanted to rape his guests, who happened to be angels, by the way. Then he and his family had to run for their lives before the city of Sodom and Gomorrah were burned down into a salt pit. And then, as he was running, his wife looked back in complacency and was disintegrated into a pillar of salt right before his eyes. If that wasn't enough, he then went to live in a cave and fathered two incestuous and rebellious nations through his daughters. All that happened in Genesis 19. That was a rough chapter for Lot, and not a great resume. See, all of this could have been avoided. How? Lot's initial mistake was that he set up his tent near Sodom. As Lot settled, he grew comfortably complacent in Sin City. He continued to be blessed, of course. He was elevated to a place of prestige and honor. We see him sitting at the city gate. What is the significance of the city gate? The city gate was the hub of economic, judicial, and social activity. And Lot was right in the middle of it. We have to ask ourselves, though, what good is it to gain the whole world but lose your soul? That's what happened to Lot. That's his story. Mama, it could be any of our stories, though. If we're not careful about where we position our tent, where are we setting ourselves up? What influences am I seeing? Am I taking my children to see on a regular basis? Where's my hub of activity? Is it activities that should require my thoughts and my focus and my concentration? Am I becoming comfortably complacent? Have you been blessed inside the gates of Sin City, elevated to places of position, maybe gained financially? If any of these strikes a chord with you, it's time to reposition your tent so that God can be in first position of your mind and your heart and your life. It's where he belongs. And you don't want him to have to move you the way that he moved Lot. In this world, there are lots of Lots. Be an Abraham.